Alright, so I am just a couple days away from selling snakes at the Denver Repticon, a local show here in Colorado. And I was going through my ball python hatchlings. It looks like I have another 15 snakes that I have to go through and figure out the males from the females. And if you looked at my video a couple days ago, I went through some snakes and I was probing the hatchlings and I took so many bites, it was unbelievable. I don't think I've ever been bitten by so many snakes in such a short period of time. I probably took at least 12 or 15 bites to both hands, and after that video it was almost like I pulled my hands out of the thorn bush, and for the next 24 hours I had all these little pin pricks in my hands. It was a really weird sensation in my hands after getting bit so many times from those snakes. And I think pretty much the problem is I was trying to probe on feeding day, which was a big mistake on my part. So pretty much right after that video I went through and I fed all my hatchlings a frozen thawed mouse, and then I followed up with some rats on some of them. So hopefully they'll be in a little better mood today. I don't expect taking any bites, but I do want to go through and figure out the males and the females in preparation for the next reptile show. And another thing I'm really excited about is, if you've been watching my videos, you know I've been pairing up my reticulated pythons for the last 3 years with no eggs, and I haven't paired up for the first time of the season this week, and I peeked in there and sure enough their tails are locked together in a copulation. That is the first time I've seen them locked together. And Lucy, she is the female, about 80 pounds. And let me tell you, if she lays some eggs, she's gonna lay a whole bunch of eggs. I'm expecting maybe between 30 and 40 eggs from a big girl like that. So that would be pretty awesome. So let's jump over and probe some ball python hatchlings. Alright, so I'm going to start with this normal here. This is a straight normal, no other hets or anything in the mix. This is as cheap as they come, pretty much the cheapest snake that you can buy. And what I do is I use this probe kit here. You can pick them up really inexpensively. I use the smallest probe to figure out the males and the females. And then I use some of this personal lubricant jelly. You can use any kind of a water-based lubricant. You just put it right on the probe and you put it right in the tail pocket of the snake to figure out the males and the females. If it goes in really far, then it's a male. If it goes in just a little bit, then it is a female. And hopefully this guy won't bite me. You know, I pulled him out and he's kind of snapping at me a little bit, which is kind of surprising for just eating the other day. These guys really haven't been handled that much, and usually what you do is you just kind of put the probe right in here, and this one's going way up in there. That is definitely a male. Hamburger, a normal, is a male. Alright, take a look at this one. This is, it looks like a normal and it can kind of trick you. This is one of my triple hets. This is het albino, het pied, and het clown. You can definitely tell it's going into shed. The eyes are pretty gray and the color's kind of fading out. It has a kind of interesting pattern on it. The pattern's a little bit broken up from the triple het. Now let's see if I can probe it and figure out the males and the females. I probed 1 out of 6 of these. Had a clutch of 6, all triple hets. 1 was a male, so I'm actually hoping for 5 females. I want to keep them all, but we'll see if I have multiple males. This is definitely a female. Alright, so at least I have 1 male and 1 female. I'm going to hold those back, and if you cross them together, you'll get clowns, and you'll get pieds, you'll get albinos, you'll get albino pieds, albino clowns, you'll get clown pieds, and you will get albino pied clowns. That is a really powerful breeder. Alright, so take a look at this one. This one's actually not in shed. Another triple het albino pied clown. And look at the interesting patterns on these triple hets. It's kind of interesting how it's all broken up. It looks like it's a little bit brighter than a normal. It's not quite as dark. The lights are a little bit lighter, and the blacks are almost... well, I've seen some normals that are really black like this, but this is kind of seems like it's super black. And you can really tell on this one, it has a little bit of tracking along the belly, a little bit of belly tracks from the het pied. You can kind of see the line like right down here. It's usually an indicator from het pied. You can definitely tell this one is a little bit beefier, ate a pretty good meal, it's pretty chunky. So I don't expect that this one will snap at me or take a bite. Let's see if this is a male or female. Hoping for some more females on these triple hets. This one is, oh, this is a male. Going pretty far there. This is a male. Matter of fact, I might keep this male just because it looks like a crazier pattern than the other one. So I might have one male for sale, a triple het albino pied clown. So here is another one. So far we have 2 males and 1 female triple het. This is another triple het going into shed. This one you can almost can't even hardly tell that it's triple het. You see the alien heads, almost looks completely normal. You would have no clue that this is such an awesome breeder, producing so many cool snakes from something like this. So I'm hoping I don't get a whole clutch of all males from these. That would be kind of disappointing. So far I just have the one female. Hoping for at least a couple more females out of this. Let's see what this one is. This one's just going in just a little bit. This is another female. All right, so far it looks like I have 2 females and 1 male as a holdback, and then 1 male that I'll have at the show. So here is another triple het. Look at how beautiful this is. I'd say this is definitely, some of them look almost like normals and some of them seem they're a lot different, a little bit broken up of a pattern. It seems like maybe a little bit brighter, a little bit more contrast than a normal. It's, I'd say it's a little bit better than a normal, but I'd say it's pretty close to a normal for these triple hets. Let's take a look at this. I can almost tell by the tail on this one. It's weird. I can almost tell by just handling the tail for a second that this one is a male. I can almost guarantee it. And then let me probe this guy. It's funny, after you probe him so many snakes for so long, it's almost like I don't even have to probe him, and I know exactly what it is just from the tail. Now watch, it'll prove me wrong. I think it is going to prove me wrong. Wow, I was actually wrong on this one. This is a female. Wow, I thought for sure it was going to be a male. Apparently, it's not as foolproof as I thought just by looking at the tail. That is another nice female. Alright, so here is my very last triple het albino pied clown. It looks like I have 2 males and 3 females so far, so it'll be interesting to see what this is. If it's another female, I don't know if I want to keep maybe both the males. If this is another male, I might sell 1 or 2 of the males, because if I have 4 females, I'm not sure if 1 male could really handle 4 females in 1 season, so I might actually have to split it up between the 2 males. We'll see what this is. We'll see what the odds are on this one. The odds are saying this is probably another male, since I have 3 females, and it's usually 50-50 males and females. But we'll take a look at what this one is here. This one is, whoa, this one is a female, I think. Let's see. Yep. This is another female. All right. So I have 4 females and 2 males. So maybe I will keep both of those males and have 1 male per 2 females per year to pair them up that way. So, sorry guys, I probably won't have any of these at the show. Alright, so here's another one. This one's name is Happy, and now that I'm looking at this one, it almost looks like the same color as my triple hets. It's pretty funny. This one is 50% het pied. There's a 50% chance this carries 1 copy of the pied gene, and it's the way that works is the male was my Coral Glow, which was 100% het pied. It essentially transfers 1 copy of the pied gene to half the babies, and really you can't really tell. Well, as a matter of fact, you could probably look at the belly markers on this and you can kind of take a guess. Do you think it's het pied or not? And sometimes it always doesn't work unless you can see really strong markers on the belly. So, you know, you're kind of taking a chance guessing one way or the other. Sometimes you can really see the tracks on the normals. But on this one, let's see if it's a male or a female. This one is definitely a female. You can tell it is really super beefy because I gave it a pretty big rat and a mouse just the other day. That thing is really full. Alright, so this one's name is Elvis, 50% het pied, and if you're wondering how much I'm selling these at the show, I'll probably sell these for like 50 bucks, pretty much the same as a normal. It's pretty much the cheapest snake that you can buy, just a straight, you know, you're taking a chance on the het pied. There's 50% chance that there's no hets at all in here, so it's essentially, I'm pretty much selling it as, you know, there's a 50% chance it's just a straight normal, so I'm selling it as a normal. And we'll see what this one is, male or female. This one is, it's pretty amazing. I've been getting almost all females this year, very few males. And sometimes it's weird how the odds hit. It's a lot of people talk about, you know, if you breed something to something, you get 50% pinstripes or whatever. A lot of people don't talk about the males and the females. Usually it's 50-50 males and females. And this one is another female. I can't even believe it. I think like probably 80% of all my hatchlings this year are female. It's pretty incredible. Alright, so here's another one, really plump, normal looking, 50% het pied. On this one you can see I kind of missed all the odds this year. You know, I was thinking about the female thing, which is really interesting. I actually had a problem with my incubator early in the year, and I lost power to my incubator, and the temperatures went down like in the mid-60s, and I thought for sure all my snakes were going to die. All of them pulled through, but I'm wondering if that could be the cause of having so many females. And I know in some reptiles you can actually change the males and the females based on the temperature of the incubation. I've never actually heard of being able to do that with ball pythons, but here is another female. It is really unusual to get so many females. I can't even hardly believe that it's another female. I just can't even believe it. It's really odd. And I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with my incubator malfunction early on at the beginning of the season. As a matter of fact, I think I had 2 clutches in there that were in there for about a week or two, and pretty much the whole incubator was full of all my eggs. And then it went out with pretty much, I think I had like 60 or 70 eggs in there when that went out. And it got really cold, so maybe that has some kind of an influence on actually I can look at the pied markers on this, but it's kind of interesting that I have so many females. This one, I'd say this one is 50% het pied, but you can see the tracks on the bottom. I'd say that is definitely 100% het pied. You can see the lines right on there. That is, I'd say 50% in parentheses. That is 100% het pied. Alright, so this one's name is Brownie, another 50% het pied. So these are the ones that missed the coral glow gene. I had some really bad odds. You could definitely tell I don't have as many coral glows as I thought. I thought, man, this is probably the worst year ever, and that's why I'm actually ordering a snake. I'm going to get it right after the show. I'm going to use the money from the sale of the snake. It's a 6-banger animal with coral glow in the mix. Hoping I don't end up with so many normal snakes here. It was unbelievable how bad the odds were this year on that coral glow pairing. It was pretty bad. So we're going to figure out if this is a male or female. You can definitely tell this one is pretty plump too. Ate a mouse and a rat. You always want to feed them a little bit, you know, usually about, I'd say 3 or 4 days before the show, because they eat and then they go to the bathroom. I found if you feed them right before the show, a lot of times they'll make messes in the display cases, and you're always chasing the mess at the show, which is kind of what you don't want. Let's see if we can get a male out of one of these. I can't even believe it. That's impossible. This is another female. I can't believe it. That is the odds for so many females. That you have to sit down and figure that out, but that is almost statistically impossible. I can't believe it. Alright, so take a look at this beauty. This is a coral glow. This came from my coral glow 100% het pied male. So this is 50% het pied. This one doesn't really have any markers down the belly, so really there's no way you can tell that this is het pied or not. That's why it has a 50% chance. And with these coral glows, it's kind of, you can kind of get tricked into thinking they might have some mites or something. They start developing these little black spots, these little freckles, and as they mature, the the colors really fade out, and this guy's a little bit jumpy. The colors fade out and they start getting a lot of those freckles. And at first you're thinking, do my snakes have mites? Especially if you're looking at coral glows. And no, it's just the freckles coming through. In most cases, hopefully you don't ever get mites. I had mites once early on when I didn't really know what I was doing, and I didn't have a quarantine set up. And let me tell you, you do not want mites. As a matter of fact, if you had mites in your collection, you probably don't want to sell any of your hatchlings until you can get a handle on your mite situation. So let's take a look at this. This is probably, I'd say this is definitely a male. Yep, it is a male. My male coral glow is a male maker. Every single coral glow that I produce is a male. If I ever produce a female, I'm definitely going to hold it back. But it's funny. I'm pretty much at 100%. Every coral glow has always been a male. Alright, so here is another beautiful coral glow. This is really awesome. This one's name is Magnum. The last one was we named him Apollo. I pretty much name him right when I hatch him out. And this one is kind of the same thing, little spots coming in. Almost look like tiny little mites. As a matter of fact, I just bought my banana clown and banana inchy clown, and it had a couple little spots. I was thinking, oh no, it has mites, and definitely does not have mites. It's just part of the morph where you get those tiny little spots coming in. And it's kind of cool how bright they are when they're small. They definitely fade out, turn a lot brighter, kind of a brighter yellow, and they don't have the contrast as much. They get really freckly, and it's like a two-tone yellow when they grow up. And of course, this one's 50% het pied, and I can almost guarantee this is going to be another male. It's pretty much a no-brainer on this one. If I get a female on one of these, I will be totally shocked. And this guy is kind of at a weird angle here, if I can get him. The funny thing about coral glows is I've found that normally I've never actually been really bit by a coral glow. This one's definitely a male. I found that coral glows seem to be part of the personality. They seem to be a lot tamer right out of the egg. It's like a natural friendliness with the coral glows that is kind of an interesting part of the morph that I don't really see in any other morph. They're just kind of naturally friendly, which is kind of cool. Alright, so I just have two more snakes left. This is Pluto, another 50% het pied. You know, all these 50% het pieds should have been coral glows, and I missed the odds so bad on this clutch. It was pretty bad. It seems like I have so many pet quality snakes this year. If you're looking for a cheap pet, this is definitely probably the cheapest snake that you can buy at the show. Let me see if I can kind of calm this guy down. He's kind of in a little bit of a snappy mode. As a matter of fact, if you look at the belly on this one, oh yeah, you talk about a pied marker. That is definitely 100% het pied. I can guarantee that one is het pied, even though the odds say it's 50%. That's probably the strongest belly markers that I've seen. As a matter of fact, I'll probably sell this one a little more as a het pied, maybe another $10 or $20 for the het pied. This one's actually a female. Oh well, no. See, actually, it's a male. It's a male. So if it's actually a female, you could get a little more money just because it's a female. And it's kind of tricky when you're probing these ball pythons. They really have to relax in the tail for you to get the probe in there in order to tell the males and the females. If they don't relax, it can kind of trick you into thinking it's a female. But this one is definitely a male. Alright, so here is my very last ball python. This one's name is Luna, 50% het pied, and I was just looking at the belly when I pulled him out, and he's kind of snapping at me a little, which is kind of surprising because look at how beefy he is. I just fed him and he's beefy. I think he's just looking for another one. These guys have such an appetite. And looking at the belly, you can see it's not really the het pied markers, although it's 50%. I thought this little heart right here was kind of interesting. On Luna's got a little heart right on the belly. That is kind of neat. And let's see if this is a male or female. I'll probe it real quick and see if I can figure it out without taking a bite. On my last one, I did really good this time. No bites from any of my snakes, which is pretty normal. I usually don't get bit. You won't even believe this. This is another female. Wow, this one's totally relaxed, just going in just a little tiny bit. Another female. That is incredible. Alright, so take a look at this. These are my reticulated pythons. This is my third year pairing them up with no eggs so far. And it looks like this is the first ever tail lock. You can see the ends of the tails are twisted together right there, which is really awesome. I turn up the lights in the enclosure, but I don't really want to disturb them, so I'm just going to leave them be kind of in the dim light here. But that is really awesome that it looks like I might actually get some eggs for the first time this year from Lucy. Alright, so it is time for the question of the day. And Rich Corbett asks, do I need to bring my snake to the vet to get shots like a dog or a cat? And that is a very good question. As a matter of fact, when I started in ball pythons, I was wondering the same exact thing. What is the vaccination schedule for a snake? And as a matter of fact, there is no vaccination schedule. You don't have to bring your snake to the vet. You don't have to get them tagged or chipped, at least here in the United States. In some places, as a matter of fact, there's a lot of rules that are being proposed that you actually get your snakes microchipped or tattooed, which is pretty incredible. I hope they never pass that here in Colorado, because if I had to tattoo or chip all my snakes, it would be a huge expense. Probably drive the price of the snakes up quite a bit if I had to go through and do that. But luckily, there's no regulations, there's no vaccinations, no shots or anything, no vet visit required unless you have a problem with the health of your snake. So that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.